Hello, everyone. Hey, so thank you for being here. Really. Everyone who shows up, who watches, who leaves comments, I read them. All of them. Whether this is your first time here or you've been around, I appreciate you. The way people share what's real in the comments, the honesty, it means something to me. Okay, let's get into this. So there's this idea of honest talk. And what's interesting is how that phrase can land. Like there's this implication that there's been dishonest talk before, or not dishonest, maybe just surface talk, safe talk, the kind of talk that doesn't actually touch anything real. And then there's this other thing, what to do if it happens. And I notice there's no clarity on what it is, just it. Like there's this unnamed thing hovering there, and the question is what to do if it shows up. But here's what I'm noticing as I sit with this. The if is doing something. If it happens, not when, not now, that. If, which means there's this space of not knowing, of waiting maybe, or watching for something that might occur or might not. And that can create tension, real tension. You might notice it in your body somewhere, like your chest might feel tight or your stomach might feel unsettled because there's this awareness of something possible sitting there and no clear action to take with it. My hands are cold right now, which is weird because the room isn't cold. So when someone's in that space of if it happens, there can be this mental loop that starts where you're going through scenarios, playing things out, imagining what you'd do, what you'd say, how you'd handle it. And I'm not saying you're doing this. I'm describing something that can happen to people when they're in uncertainty. And the what to do part, that's interesting too, because it assumes there's a right thing to do, a correct response. Like if you just think about it enough, plan enough, prepare enough, you'll know exactly how to handle it when or if it shows up. But you may notice that all that planning, all that mental rehearsal, it doesn't actually resolve the tension. It might even make it worse because you're living in a possibility instead of in what's actually here right now. Does that make sense to you? That difference between what might happen and what is. Wait, let me say that differently. There can be this experience where someone's so focused on preparing for something that might occur that they're not actually present with what's real right now. And that creates this weird split where part of you is here and part of you is in some imagined future scenario trying to figure out what to do. And the honest talk part, there's something there too. Because honest talk might require vulnerability. It might require saying things that feel risky, things that could change the dynamic, could make people uncomfortable, could expose something you've been keeping protected. And there can be fear around that, real fear. You might notice it as resistance when you think about being that honest. Like there's this pull to just keep things surface, to stay safe, to not rock the boat. Have you noticed that in yourself? That tension between wanting to be honest and wanting to stay safe? Tell me in the comments if this resonates. Because there's this thing that can happen where someone knows they need to have an honest conversation. They can feel it. But there's also this fear of what might happen if they do. What might change? What might end? What might get revealed that can't be unrevealed? So instead of having the conversation, there's waiting. There's if it happens thinking. There's what to do preparing. And all of that mental activity, it might be a way of avoiding what's actually present right now. My jaw is so clenched right now. I can feel it in my temples. So there's this question underneath all of this, maybe. Not what to do if it happens, but what are you noticing right now? What's actually real in this moment? Not in some possible future scenario, but here, now. What awareness is present And that might feel harder to sit with than planning for possibilities. Because being present with what is, there's no escape in that. There's no mental rehearsal that can protect you. There's just the rawness of what's actually here. And if what's here is uncertainty, if what's present is not knowing what to do, that can feel uncomfortable, really uncomfortable. Because there's this desire for clarity, for answers, for a clear path forward. And sometimes that's just not there. You know that experience where you're waiting for something to happen so you can finally know how to respond? But the waiting itself becomes the experience. The anticipation becomes what you're living in instead of life itself. And I don't have an answer for that. I'm not going to tell you what to do if it happens because I don't know what it is. And even if I did, I don't know what's right for you. I'm just here noticing with you that there can be this gap between preparation and presence. The honest talk, if it needs to happen, it might not need a script. It might not need planning. It might just need willingness to be present, to say what's true, to let it be messy and imperfect and maybe uncomfortable. But I'm not saying you should do that. I'm just describing what honest talk can require when it does happen, whenever that is. If that is, wait, let me correct myself. I'm not even describing what it requires. I'm just noticing that there's a difference between rehearsing honesty and actually being honest in real time. And one of those can be controlled and the other can't. Have you noticed how different it feels to think about being honest versus actually opening your mouth and saying the true thing? So the what to do if it happens question, maybe it's the wrong question. Or not wrong, just incomplete because it's focused on action, on response, on having the right move prepared. But sometimes the thing that's needed isn't action, it's just awareness, just being present with what's real without needing to fix it or solve it or figure it out. And that can feel like doing nothing, which can feel irresponsible or passive or weak, but it might not be any of those things. It might just be presence, being with what is without jumping to what to do about it. My shoulders just dropped and I didn't even realize they were up by my ears. So I guess what I'm observing is the honest talk, the if it happens, the what to do, all of that might be mental activity around something that's simpler. Something that's just here in this moment. Some awareness or feeling or knowing that doesn't need a plan, doesn't need a script, just needs to be acknowledged. And maybe that's what's available right now. Not the answer to what to do if, but just the noticing of what is, what's present, what's real, without needing it to mean something or lead somewhere or resolve into clarity. Does that make sense to you? I don't sell futures. I build architects. No predictions, just the raw truth for the tough ones. Stay magic, stay in the now.